Remember trying to dodge losses with the costas, with them peoples. In search for that root of evil. Couple hundreds in American Eagles. Denim jeans with the crease on the knees. Sewing what I reap though. Convos with the reaper. Finding failure, finding needs.
What is good? It's Esteban Xound here to bring you guys an Hip Hop Heads album conversation on a recent album that came out. J.Cole's KOD, King of Drugs, King of Overdose. Want to bring you guys a conversation. Let's get it. So we'll start from the beginning to end. I'll break down the tracks and then I'll go over my overall thoughts of the album. Honestly, it's a short album. It's not too long. It's 12 tracks, produced entirely by J. Cole as far as I know. The only feature that he has is a feature that he does himself, just Kill Edwards. The album is very compact, very kept in-house, like most of J. Cole's recent albums, very in-house, which honestly I think it works for J. Cole. For another artist, maybe not, but I think it works for J. Cole. Overall, as far as the length of the album, I think it was well done. Starting with the first track, Intro, speaking on two basic human emotions, pain and laughter. And I think those are the two emotions that are mostly in the album. It's either pain or it's laughter. He's dealing with content that talks with pain, or he's talking about some shit that's funny. And I don't know, I thought to open it up that way, like, you know, you set the tone and you pretty much let everyone know this is the thesis statement. You got pain, you got laughter, and then he says, choose wisely. That was the biggest theme that I guess going through the album, is just choosing wisely when it comes to these sort of pains, how to deal with these pains. I thought he opened up the album pretty well. We go to KOD. KOD, hard ass beat, hard ass intro. The flow was dope. As far as the subject matter on KOD, I thought he touched on some of the addiction topics. As far as sipping so much activist daily or whatever the fuck. He talked about the different addictions, especially at the end. I think that's what this track was mostly about, talking about different addictions. But I thought the way that he put it was dope. It was very aggressive. It was a dope opener. The end of the track was speaking about the different addictions. Molly, weed, the greatest drug of them all, love, which leads into the next track, Photograph, I thought the beat was dope. Trap drums and everything. The guitar sample, at least it sounded like, was dope. And the subject matter of the track, talking about, I guess, relationships nowadays and how they're through Instagram and how people will meet through Instagram or whatever the fuck. I guess it's breaking down that whole interaction of how relationships go nowadays over online, and he says that it's messing with his health. So maybe he's talking about addiction through Instagram, meeting people through Instagram, but it's not really like a face-to-face situation. But I thought he broke down the situation really dope, because it's true, that shit happens. Me personally, has that shit happened? No, I'm not on Instagram like that, or I'm out here trying to, you know, pull over Instagram. But from what I hear, that shit happens, and obviously, I mean, I can see how that could happen in real life. So you know what I mean? I thought the track title fit the subject matter. The beat was dope. I thought he kept it pretty consistent. I like the extentacion flow, and he was talking about, N-words be talking so slick. I'm not the never for lip. Putting my heart in the click. Can't see my heart, it don't fit. And most of the track, or most of the album, was inspired by these kind of new wave trap artists. And I thought that was a dope way to incorporate that kind of sound into it. Even KOD had that trap sound to it. Photograph had a bit of a smoother trap sound to it, but he still kept up with the flow, which I really liked. The cutoff speaks about cutting off friends. The beat was laid back, boom bap. The piano sample kind of reminded me of Jay-Z's Reasonable Doubt, Dead Presidents. I can hear he still has a bit of influence. As far as on that track, you know, that's been, I mean, he sampled it before. Yeah, the beat was laid back, it was pulled back. The subject matter, talking about his friends, cutting out some of his friends and not knowing who to trust. It's partly because of drug addiction too, right? And I can relate to that shit. I've been in situations where I had to pull back from friendships because of drug use and drug addiction. I want to say drug addiction, but I guess just drug use in general. I've had to pull back from relationships in certain situations just because I'm not trying to be in a situation like that. So I related to what he was talking about as far as having to cut off certain friends because of drug addiction and shit like that. You know, it happens naturally, but obviously we don't like it when that shit happens, but it happens. ATM speaks about money, dealing with money in general. I thought it was an interesting take as far as money, talking about the different extents that somebody would go through to get the money and some of the contradictions that comes with money. Like, you can't take it when you die, but you can't live without it. You know, somebody would sacrifice their health, their organs, to get money. Yeah, just talking about, I guess, money as an addiction and dealing with pain with money. So that's another way of dealing with pain. And I also want to talk, there's the pain of cutting off friends too. Obviously that's one of the pains that's in the album. So talking about the pains of cutting off friends, and now he's talking about the pain of money, some of the pains that you gotta go through. I thought the beat was dope, the flow was dope, obviously. Count it up, count it up, count it up, count it. The hook was catchy as hell. I thought he did a really good job as far as the track. You know, it was catchy as hell, and he talks about money in a realistic way, the contradictions of it and some of the goods and bads of it. He didn't glorify it or anything like that, but fuck it, he put it out there exactly how it is. A motivate was the other side of money. At least that's the way I took it, the other side of money, which is a motivator. I like the little get money. The beat was dope as hell. The 808s and the drum I thought was dope as hell. The beat caught me at first. Sounded like some down south trap shit, which I really liked. Motivate was one of my favorite tracks as far as the beat. The flow was also really dope. Then we go to Kevin's Heart. The beat was dope. I thought the sample with the little video game sample was dope as hell. It was laid back. It was a smooth beat. The instrumental on this track was probably my favorite on the whole album. I really liked it. It was smooth. This one, he's talking about the pains of being in a relationship and dealing with the pain as far as infidelity. So not really dealing with it, but I guess running away from the pain of a relationship through infidelity. I guess being on the road, being tempted with infidelity, and I guess some of the emotions that go with dealing with relationships and pains. So I thought the way that he put the track out was dope. The beat was dope as hell. The instrumental was really well done. The content matter was there. So I really like Kevin's Heart, one of my favorite tracks. I really like the video that he put together with it too. I thought it was well done. Brackets. Now Brackets, he pulled back the instrumental. It was kind of minimalistic, but it was smooth. And I thought he wrote it well. Now, the content matter was probably the best throughout the whole album. The content matter was talking about the pain of having to pay. Again, he put the both sides of money. It's a motivator. Somebody will go out and sacrifice their health for that shit. And now he's talking about having to pay money. Now he talks about the other side of making money. I thought he dealt with it through comedy. Obviously, opened up with the Richard Pryor skit. I think that's Richard Pryor. Don't quote me on that shit, but I think that's Richard Pryor talking about making a lot of money, but then he goes into the other side of it, the contradiction, which is having to pay taxes. I thought he made his statement. He made his case, talking about new ways of dealing with taxes, talking about through an app and making choices through an app. I like the Uncle Sam skit that he put in there. Obviously at the end he was talking about a woman that has 2 kids. One son was on the straight and righteous path. The other son was kind of fucking around. One of them ends up dying. The other one ends up getting kicked out, yet she still has to pay her taxes. So regardless of whatever is going through, someone still has to pay their taxes regardless of which path you got to go through. It was a good way of putting the idea of making money and having to pay taxes when it comes to this money. Very good way of putting it. The content matter was my favorite on the whole album. Once an Addict, talking about alcoholism and drug addiction in his family. So he went internal before he goes external. Once an Addict, he's talking about his own addictions with weed, his mother's addictions with alcohol, and escapism, and dealing with the pains of what was going on in Fayetteville through drug addiction. So he brought it on himself first and talked about his own drug addiction, his family's own drug addiction, some of the pain that he still deals with. He deals with the regret of how he dealt with that situation, and I thought he put it out pretty well. And once again, he reiterates the point of choosing wisely before he goes on to the next track. Friends, he pulled the beat back completely because he wanted to really highlight the subject matter. Once again, one of my favorite tracks as far as subject matter goes, because I really relate to it. Dealing with drug addiction and psychosis, and now he brought it outside of himself, which is now his friends. So he took it from inside saying, hey, listen, I went through this drug addiction. I've been through this before. Hey, and now I see it with my friends. This is what I'm saying. This shit is not the answer. There's a different way of dealing with it. And I really related to the way he put the track out, because me personally, I've been in the hospital, I've been in the unit, and there was people dealing with drug addiction and different pains as far as psychosis when it comes to drug addiction, whether it be through alcohol or through weed. I've dealt with my own personal addictions as far as alcohol and weed, and it definitely is not the answer when it comes to dealing with pain. So I agree with J. Cole the way he put his track out there. It's not the way when it comes to dealing with pain, and I like that he put that advice out to his friends, and the way he put it out was through a track. I like the aggression on the track, and I agree with him at the end. There's a better way of dealing with it. Meditate, man. Get on your meditation shit, because that shit can help, man. Even if it's just 10 minutes a day, just fucking meditate and you'll be alright. Window pane, the beat was knocking on this one. The 808s were knocking. The beat was knocking on this motherfucker. I like the aggression on the track he went in. The beat matched the aggression of the verse, which I really liked. And he just kind of put everything in perspective on the last track. Well, I wouldn't say the last track, but the outro of the album. He put everything in perspective as far as dealing with different pains in his community now. So he went from him personally to now his friends to now his community, I guess through gang banging or through gun violence. And so he was talking about a girl that he had met, her brother or her cousin got shot, and dealing with the pain of losing a loved one like your brother or your cousin, how she, I guess, deals with it with God. But yeah, dealing with different pains in his community now and putting everything in perspective, how he's grateful. All he said, he wants to see his Grammy on the other side, and just putting everything in perspective as far as gratefulness. The beat was knocking, the subject matter was there, put everything in perspective. 1985, I really like this track. Obviously, this was the track that got a lot of buzz. I'm guessing this was the response to Lil Pump. I don't know what the beef was between J. Cole and Lil Pump. I'm not gonna act like I know all the beef or whatever the fuck, but I guess this is J. Cole's response to Lil Pump, and I like the way he took it. Whatever the beef was, I like the way that J. Cole approached it. He gave him a backhanded compliment. He gave him game as far as, you gotta keep touring and start putting your money away and this and that. But then he also told him, like, hey, listen, you're probably gonna be in Love and Hip Hop. So I like the way that he did the track. He gave him game, but he still put him in check at the end of it. So I really like that. It was a dope way of approaching a diss track, I guess. And I like how he took the instrumental into his own realm. Most of the album was kind of trap inspired and trap flows inspired. But in this track, he brought it to his flow, his instrumentals, brought it back more boom bap. He put it in his realm, and again, put it all together. Like, hey, listen, I can take influence from you guys like Lil Pump, Extentacion. At the end of the day, still gotta put you in check. The OG still gotta put you in check. Honestly, overall, I thought it was a well put together album. Super fucking solid, super well compact. It's 12 tracks, so not a lot of filler on here. The beats were banging for the most part. Some of the beats were brought back. Some of the beats were really banging. KOD, I really like the instrumental. Photograph, Kevin's Heart, ATM. Pretty much the whole first half of the album, I thought he went hard. And even the last bit of the album, I thought he went hard with his verses. The content matter really densed up towards the end of the album. I'd say I'd recommend it for short drives or trips. That's when I put this album on. I'm going for a short ride or like a day trip or something like that. I'll put the album on because it's, it's an easy listen and it has good content on it. So I definitely would recommend it to anybody. You know what I mean? I think it deals with a lot of real shit that people are going through every day. Addictions, different pains, and reiterating the point of choosing wisely. You know what I mean? Just putting it all out there. Like, hey, listen, I've been through this. I've been through these different pains. Here are the different pains that are going on around me, whether it's friends, family, community, money, addiction, and just putting it all out there. There was a lot of contradiction in the album. Sometimes he would glorify something and then he would comment against it. But hey, that's what an artist does. And I think the way that J. Cole does it, it's well done. It's to the point where I can actually tolerate it. Kind of like Kendrick Lamar, where he talks about different contradictions, but he puts it out there. Like, hey, listen, I'm not perfect, but hey, this is what's going on around me. So I like the way that he put it out. And yeah, honestly, the album overall was fucking super solid. I'd recommend it to really anybody who's looking to listen to a compact album with good lyrics, good beats, really palatable, I really like this album. If you support the videos, subscribe. Also check out me personally, Esteban _Xound on Instagram, Esteban _Xound on Twitter, also on Facebook too. Check out the labels pages, Sound Movement Entertainment. We're out here on the Sound Movement. That Sound Movement on Instagram, facebook.com/Sound Movement. I'll put the links in the bio. Check out the website too, soundmovement.com. That's the home for everything. We'll keep putting out content. I wanted to bring you guys a conversation as far as the new J.Cole album. Let me know what you guys think about the album and what you want me to talk about next. Peace.
With the costas, with them peoples, in search for that root of evil. Couple hundreds in American Eagles. Denim jeans with the crease on the knees. So what I read though. Convos with the reaper. Finding failure, finding knee jerk.